Welcome back to the Bluechip Breakdown, Vols fans. I'm your host, Bull. In today's video, we'll be updating you on the softball team, on our baseball team. We've got some transfer portal news for the football team and for the men's basketball team. So please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. All right, so first and foremost, our Lady Vols softball team won their series versus Alabama down in Tuscaloosa. We win the first game 5-0, second game 2-0, and we lost the final game 0-1. And we are heading into our final series of the season before we get into SEC tournament play versus Kentucky. Those games will be in Knoxville coming up starting on May the 2nd, which is Thursday at 7 p.m. And currently our Lady Vols are ranked number 3 nationally and number 1 in the SEC. And now for our baseball team. We had the clean sweep versus Mizzou over the weekend, winning the first game 10-1. The second and third games we won 3-2. I'm not quite sure why it isn't showing up for the third game. But in those games, it does seem like whatever Missouri was doing, from a pitching perspective, was able to kind of limit our bats. So we'll see how that looks moving forward for the next 3 series that we have before we head into the SEC tournament. Our men's baseball team is currently ranked number 3 in the entire country, just like our ladies softball team is. And we are number 2 in the SEC East behind Kentucky. And I want to say that we're number 3, maybe you're number 4 in the SEC. It's just weird how those rankings go. We'll see if that ends up balancing itself out once everything is all said and done. All right, so we got to talk about our men's basketball team and that transfer portal. I love what Coach Rick Barnes is doing so far. He's rebuilding this team, and it looks like exactly what we talked about as soon as the season ended, just like a couple of months ago. And we said, hey, we need more length. We need more shooters. Well, he's going out and he's getting a whole lot of that. I think that this team has a good chance to be better moving forward next season. We already talked about Dallas Stone Dubar coming from Hofstra and what he's going to mean to this team. But we've got 2 more players to talk about and one more potential that I do think that Tennessee will end up landing before it's all said and done. And the first transfer commitment that we're going to be talking about today is going to be Felix Akpara, who's a 6'11", 235-pound center from Ohio State, averaging 6.6 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, about 59% from the field, averaging 1.8 blocks for his career, but he did get 2.4 blocks per game last season. He's got to work on his free throw shooting, but I do think that there is some potential for him to help us out in some ways that maybe Tobe Awaka could not. And the next commitment is going to be Igor Milicic Jr. We talked a lot about this young man coming from Charlotte. He is a 6'10" forward, averaging 12.8 points per game, 8.5 rebounds, 1.7 assists, about 49% from the field. But the biggest thing is he's shooting about 36% from 3 for his career. And he's at about 80% for his career from the free throw line. But if you look at what he did just this past season, about 82% from free throw and shooting almost 38% from 3. This is a huge pickup for our Volunteers. And the last player that we'll be talking about is Chaz Lanier. He's a 6'4" guard from North Florida, averaging about 20 points per game, almost 5 rebounds, which is going to be big in our system, shooting 51% from the field. But this is the kicker. Is last season at North Florida, he shot 44% from 3. We definitely need that. And he's also shooting about 86% from the free throw line. And Chaz Lanier has a perfect game for our system. He can get to the basket and get those easy buckets. He's got a nice mid-range game to him. But it's being able to, stretch the floor and shoot from 3 on a very consistent basis is what we need, especially with the additions that we've already added of some more players with some good length that can also shoot. I think that was the biggest problem last year with a guy like DK. He didn't have a consistent, kind of like a Scottie Pippen to a Michael Jordan type of player. He had it every now and then, but now what we're going to see is more like what UConn showed us throughout the entire season last year and really the previous season as well, where they've got a bunch of players that can not only create their own shots, but can also shoot. And we're adding a lot more length down in the post. I just feel like that's so important these days with basketball. I'm very happy to see that Rick Barnes is going out and targeting these types of players. Now, with Chaz Lanier coming from North Florida, he has entered into the transfer portal, but he entered in with a do not contact blocker, which means that schools can't reach out to him, but he's going to reach out to the schools that he likes. And he's also going to be going through the NBA draft process. So there is a chance that he could end up getting drafted, and we won't even have the opportunity to really court him, okay? I'm sure that we probably talked to him some, but we won't really be able to go through that entire process until he's done with the NBA draft process. But he is from Nashville, so I feel like we're in a really good position. A lot of the insiders and experts think that we are in a great position, and we do, obviously, like I just talked about. We have an area where he can come in and he can fill a void. You can look at what DK did for us last year, and he could kind of be that guy where he's got the green light all the time just to shoot as much as you want. hopefully kind of, get his NBA stock up a little bit more if he didn't like where he was going to be landing at this season. I think that it's a match made in heaven. And if you look at the totality of everything that we could potentially be adding, we're talking about a team that I think could end up being better than the team that we had last season. Now, as far as Tobey Owaka goes, he has committed to Arizona. And obviously with the two big, post presence that we added, there wasn't a whole lot of room for him because he's looking for more minutes. It just wasn't going to happen with the way that things played out. Now, I think that if he would have committed a little bit earlier, then, we wouldn't have had one of these other guys. And I'm going to miss Tobey. We all are. He was a great player. I love the passion that he played with. But I honestly feel like we are going to be upgrading at that position. So we're going to be just fine. And also, Cade Tyson did go on ahead and commit to North Carolina. He was the other player that I really wanted to land. And I think that if we could have landed everyone that we just talked about in today's video, then yeah, I would say that we should probably be preseason top 10, because whenever you look at a team like this, they can spread the floor, that can score in a lot of different ways, but it's also going to play very, very good defense. That is a, fundamental principle and staple of any Rick Barnes team. It's just, you're just not going to play that much if you can't play good defense. I think that the sky was the limit, but it still is very high. We'll see what happens, as time continues to go on. I think that the portal closes within the next couple of days. Maybe we, try to go out there and target someone else, but I think that we're going to pretty much stay put. Hopefully, Chaz Lanier will be committing to our Volunteers sooner rather than later. And now for the last segment of the day, we got to talk about the football team's transfer portal. We all know about Elijah Herring entering in, and we don't know where he's going to end up at, but we think it could end up being Colorado. At least that's what I think. But we did lose one more player from defense, this time in the secondary with Christian Conyer. Came in with the 2023 class at the cornerback position. He's a 3-star on some sites. He's a 4-star on others. But I think that he really fit our scheme and our system very well, just because at about 6'2", maybe even closer to about 6'3", really long arms. He has the length, okay? He's got the speed and everything that we covered on the outside at the cornerback position. And he was one of the guys that we did kind of talk about, hey, maybe he will end up leaving us in this transfer portal. It was him and it was Jordan Matthews as far as cornerbacks go. Well, I was leaning more towards Jordan Matthews, but Christian Conyer sounds like he's the guy. Hopefully Jordan Matthews will stay put. But Christian Conyer was more of the player that I felt pretty comfortable with, throwing out there in a, like rotational situation, because he stayed on top of routes better than we've seen from Jordan Matthews at this point. Now, it sounds like he is hitting the portal to get more playing time, and he cannot transfer within the SEC. He's from Kentucky. Will he go to a place like Louisville? Maybe. I mean, there really is no telling, but I would say that a player with his type of length and with his skill set is probably going to be pretty highly coveted in the portal at this point. Now, it is kind of getting towards the end of it, so we don't know, if the teams that really needed a cornerback, very badly, if they've already found their man or, the players that they needed, and if maybe Christian Conyer waited a little bit too long to enter himself into the portal for his own sake. I would hope that he does end up coming back, just because our secondary, I feel like, is deep from a skill perspective, right? Not necessarily deep from the amount of players that we have, especially at corner. Now, losing a guy like Christian Conyer, we are getting even more shorthanded. If we lose anyone else, then it's getting into that danger zone. And with the portal closing up on the 30th, it's going to be very tough for us to go out and find someone before the season starts. Now, hopefully, Caleb Beasley will come back. I want to say maybe in that fall camp area, but he's not going to be ready to play just yet. Might take him until maybe the midpoint of the season before he is going to be ready to play. So the guys that are going to be starters will have to carry a large, bulk of that load. But again, we still do have Jordan Matthews. We still have Jalen McMurray, who I also really like. And there's some players that are, playing either at star or they're playing at safety that can make the transition to corner, because most of them already have. I would say that a guy like Boo Carter, that a lot of us love at the star position, especially as a backup to Jordan Thomas, is now going to probably get a good opportunity to work a little bit more at cornerback so that we can have that depth. You just need those bodies. It sometimes comes down to like a numbers game. So those are my thoughts on it. I hate to lose Christian Conyer. I think that he's a heck of a ball player, and it sucks. Again, the same thing that I said with, Herring once he left. Hopefully, Christian Conyers will reconsider and stay home with us, because we can most definitely use him this season. I think that he will play a lot this year if he does decide to stay. Also versatile enough to, play at the star position or to play at either one of the safeties, because he does have that size. But that's it for this video. Hope that y'all enjoyed it. Please make sure to leave your thoughts and comments down in the comment section. And thank you as always for sticking all the way to the end. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share with your friends, family, and other volunteer fans. We'll see you all in the next one. Thanks. Peace.